I do want to say something in my defense. I did raise the Jeffrey Toobin masturbatory incident with Victor Davis Hanson, so there's really no bridge I won't cross to get the story of the day.
I'm glad to see fair and balanced all the way.
Yeah. See, I love it. I respect you guys. I respect you, and I don't even have to be drunk to do it. I don't have to be drunk. I do it stone cold sober. Maybe the same cannot be said for our potential next president. Have you guys seen the memes questioning whether Kamala Harris is drunk or just a dunce? Is she drunk or dumb? Is she drunk or disorderly? I don't know. I'm of two minds on it. I've seen some clips where she's a little slurry. You know, I can see how she's a little, and you're like, what? But some of the evidence, I was like, I don't know. We put together the montage of the clips that have been circulating as the alleged evidence that she's a boozer. And you guys, we report, you decide. Watch.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
There is this wonderful word that has a great meaning, and it's called hypothesis, which means that you have an idea, and then it is well accepted, it will be tested.
Has Wi-Fi. And even USB outlets next to every seat. I mean, come on, imagine. You can charge your phone on your way home from work. That's good stuff. I'm pointing to the direction of what I believe is the Capitol. He's going to speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love in this room for our president. Give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Go round and round. Just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can. I call myself a joyful warrior. Right? Never let anyone take your joy from you.
So I can't say, you know, I'm not a doctor or whatever, I guess, or an officer on the side of the road making a walk a line on this.
Or a substance abuse counselor.
I just know when I have like 8 or 9 bourbons, I think everything I'm saying is really
profound,
smart and funny. And like, if I were being videoed, I'm probably the only person laughing.
Yeah.
And I bet it looks a lot like that.
I don't know, man. I'm also not a doctor. But I think she's dumb. I really do. I think that's the diagnosis, is stupidity.
There's also sort of like a stoner mentality to her.
A little bit.
Like the
maybe a gummy.
That's good stuff. Like, yeah, like that's like a high schooler with munchies at the Taco Bell drive-in window at 3 a.m.
I'd be like, listen, man, there's a USB charger in your car.
Bro, it's amazing.
Bad stuff.
It's true. Like, you're gonna hear from him in a minute. Joe Biden. Okay, so it's an ongoing problem. There's no way she's drunk at all these public appearances. Somebody would notice. But she does have like a wine bar named after her or something like that. I don't know, like a kind of a theme, whatever. Here she is in Pennsylvania this weekend, and this one made the rounds. People are like, what is she saying? And as you'll see in the second soundbite we'll play, it's what we call a pattern. Okay, listen to her in Pennsylvania this past weekend talking about democracy.
Our election is about understanding the importance of this beautiful country of ours in terms of what we stand for around the globe as a democracy. As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact, incredibly strong, and incredibly fragile.
Yeah, I just you make a good point. She can't be drunk at every single one of these things, but she can be dumb at every single one of those things. That's the control.
She reminds me of like, oh,
she's
you got
not
more?
done. Hold, she's not done. Watch. She loves this.
The nature of democracy there are two sides to it in terms of the nature of it. There's a duality. There's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, oh, it's so strong. And it's very fragile.
The nature of democracy, there's a duality to it. It has two sides to it.
Democracy, there's a duality to it. On the one hand, a democracy, when it is intact, is very strong. On the other hand, and here is the duality, democracy is also extremely fragile. It will only be as strong as the willingness of its people to fight for it.
I did.
Prosecution rests.
I love how she says, and here's the duality part.
And here's the duality, because it's the second part.
Like, you know, it's a really good rhetorical device when you have to explain it that much.
Well, she's got like in the full act, each and every one, it's like she's thinking it through on the fly.
It's a very simple concept.
It's a pretty simple concept. Yeah. It's acting.
That's
exactly
that's acting, right? That's her fakeness.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. I mean, she reminds me of like the shittiest motivational speaker that's ever addressed a junior high anywhere in this country. That and a cross between like a substitute teacher who has more degrees than a thermometer but can't hold down a job. Like the combination of those two things is, I think, where you get like the duality. Maybe mix in a Tip Top or a Chardonnay, and then you got like the full perfect.
She just like, there is no wisdom there. That's the thing that's so impossible about her becoming president. You're like, there's no wisdom. There's no depth of thinking. This person's not fast on her feet. And whatever she tries to use as a stirring rhetorical device is false, empty, and didn't work on me the first 10 times you tried it.
But remember the first 3 years of Biden's administration, she was a punchline for everybody because of this. And everybody was like, oh, no, Joe Biden's not going anywhere because his insurance policy is his vice president. Nobody thinks his vice president can actually do that job. I mean, that's what everybody talked about before she got the nod to be their nominee. Totally. And now all of a sudden, everybody has to be one of her yes men staffers. The entire press has to be her yes person staffer who listens to that bullshit over and over again and is like, oh, yeah, Kamala, that sounds so smart. You killed it, boss.
You know what I mean? Everything that was once absurd that they laughed at is now treated as profound.
Right. Yeah. And the few staffers that are left, because she ran through about 10 dozen of them in the first year and a half.
There were multiple stories written about that specific thing.
Yeah, that she just couldn't hold. Like, nobody wanted to work for her. She was insane. She had these like circular logic reasoning machines and kept getting pissed off that she was put in a position of having to defend the indefensible and all these things like that nobody liked to work for. And they're trying to make this lady president of the United States. What a scary proposition.
Yeah, right. It's why Charlie Spearing had his book.
Yeah, Charlie Spearing, he's been great. Wait, can I say this? They now we've learned over the past week that Lester Holt interview she gave was really jarring for her. She was shaken up by how poorly she did, where she's like, we've been to the border. And he, to his credit, is like, you've never been to the border. And I've never been to Europe. What's your point? And it was disastrous. And she got criticized roundly for it. And apparently, according to the reporting, she went underground after that. She was very shaken by how poorly she did and the reaction to her, and became obsessed with not repeating that mistake, not giving interviews, was worried about what Fox News might be saying about her, got like just very like, oh, you know, my career requires me to be quiet. And she was relatively quiet after that point. You know, we saw her doing a couple things that probably seemed like they'd be harmless, like going to the Space Museum, and then they weren't because she got dumb and said weird things. But now they've learned their lesson, right? She's out there and she understands she cannot do it. And they understand that too. Everyone's running cover. And the few times she's spoken out, like that duality remark was the other day, you get a glimpse into the real her, like not the curated version we keep getting forced on us by the teleprompter. And at these, you know, events like the campaign events, and I'm sure at the convention on Thursday night, you want to talk about duality. There's your duality right there. As a kid, you loved eating cereal, right? But as an adult, you don't want all that sugar. And most cereals don't have the protein you want or need. But then there's Magic Spoon, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like your childhood favorites, but without the sugar and with a ton of protein. And now Magic Spoon has turned their super popular cereal into high protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. Magic Spoon's brand new treats are so delicious and can serve as a before or after gym snack. Magic Spoon's treats are an easy way to get 11 grams of protein, that's good, on the go. And for the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores now with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/MK, or just look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/MK for $5 off. Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.